Hey y'all, it's St. Pam again. There has been a lot of talk about the old gods and their role in the upcoming expansion. Today, I'm going to look at another possible threat facing Azeroth: the Death Knights, the Scourge, and Bolvar. Since I will be touching on lore and Order Hall quests, here is your spoiler alert if you haven't done any of them. With that out of the way, let's get started. So, I have this funny idea that we need to be keeping a close eye on the Death Knights and Bolvar. Is something going to happen next expansion? That seems fairly unlikely. We may see more hints that Bolvar has changed since donning the helm of domination, but any more outright aggression seems unlikely. Hopefully, at least some of these hints will be outside of Death Knight specific quests. So let's take a quick look at some of the things Bolvar had done in this expansion. He blackmailed the Ebon Blade by threatening to unleash the Scourge. Now, admittedly, that would have been against the Legion, but that would still be a bad idea. Unleashing the Scourge, I don't know why I keep saying leasing, but unleashing the Scourge really just, it's never a good idea, regardless of the reason you do it. He has also ordered that more dead be raised. That's not really a good look either, if you ask me. It makes me think of a growing army, and we don't really know how many undead fill his ranks now as it is. So adding even more to an unknown number just isn't good. One big thing he did that I'm pretty sure most people know about was when he started work to recreate the 4 horsemen. Now, I could see the reasoning behind that, but if that wasn't bad enough, he orchestrated an attack against Light's Hope. His intent was to raise Tyrion Fordring as one of the horsemen, regardless of the loss of life. He showed little care for his former friends and allies. Now, he failed, of course. They weren't able to retrieve Tyrion's body due to the show of force from Light's Hope and the Paladins, but it still seems kind of strange. Let us not forget what he had your character do in order to obtain that nifty undead dragon mount. It started with torturing a member of the Bronze Dragon Flight to get information. Then he has you sneak into the Ruby Dragon Shrine for information they had archived. While there, he had no issues with red dragons and dragonkin being killed. And then when you finally raise the bones of a long dead red, you bend it to your will just so you can fly it around. So, I think it's safe to say that Noble Bolvar has changed. He started off questionable, but he escalated to being pretty brutal. I highly doubt that he's done either. I believe he is being corrupted either by the helm or the Serenite used in at least some of the Citadel's construction. Now, I know that Bolvar died. I know that Alexstrasza recreated him in a body that supposedly is not corruptible. Now, while that might prevent physical corruption, I don't know that it would prevent his mind from being played with. So, here is a theory surrounding our friend Bolvar. It is possible that Yogg-Saron, during his torture, it's possible that he could have taken control of Bolvar. He could then have used that whole thing about there always having to be a Lich King to manipulate everyone. And this would, of course, be with the intent of ruling the Scourge without interference from either Arthas or Ner'zhul. Bolvar and Yogg-Saron say something very similar to one another, along the lines of no king rules forever. So it kind of leans towards Yogg-Saron at least having some influence over Bolvar. Now, a dev post renders some of this moot. I will link it below, but I'll also read the question and answer here. The question was, the "there must always be a Lich King" mantra seemed awfully suspicious coming from ghosts trapped in Frostmourne. Was there something else going on there? The dev's answer was this: to save people from generating elaborate conspiracy theories, we'll be serious a moment and say definitively no. The ghosts of Uther and Tyrannus understood that the Scourge would run rampant without someone to keep them in check. Yes, that does also mean that Arthas and Ner'zhul were not unleashing the full force of the Scourge during their respective reigns. You are welcome to speculate on the reason for that. Now, it could have been, as far as not unleashing all of their undead, it could have been because of the threat that the Legion posed. Now, that does mean that Bolvar was not manipulating anyone either by himself or with Yogg-Saron's influence. It does not, however, mean that he is not currently falling to the will of the old gods. See, Serenite is the blood of the old gods, and it does strange things to people. Take, for instance, after Sylvanas jumped off of Icecrown Citadel, she landed on Serenite, and then ended up in hell. Could that all have been an elaborate plan by the old gods through the Serenite? It's possible. We don't know how much that affected her. So there are still some possibilities that he's being manipulated or controlled. We also need to remember that Bolvar isn't the Lich King any more than Arthas was. The Helm of Domination and Ner'zhul are the Lich King. Whoever dons it becomes the Lich King, and, at least I think, it's because they have to give in to Ner'zhul. Sorry about the horn. We have inconsiderate neighbors. But I think it's because they have to give in to Ner'zhul. I don't believe that there is any soul or mind pure enough to avoid corruption by the helm and or the old gods. This is why I think we will, one day, have to fight the Scourge again. Though, I don't know how soon that would be. Now, of course, this is all speculation. I could be completely wrong. Bolvar could be the absolute purest soul and completely impossible to corrupt. His actions don't make me think that's the case. So, I would love to hear what y'all think. Leave a comment below to let me know if you think we need to be watching Bolvar, or if you think this is all just a crackpot theory. That's all I have about Death Knights now. Before I end this video, I have a couple of announcements. The first has to do with my channel, with YouTube, and a possible Patreon. So, many, if not all of you, probably know that YouTube is changing their partnerships. Small channels like my own will be losing it. I had said previously that I was thinking of starting a Patreon. Now, in order to improve Irrational RP, I don't feel like I have a choice. I won't be asking for much, but any help you can provide would be greatly appreciated. I'll add the link below as soon as it's available. The next announcement is that next Sunday on the 4th, I will start streaming twice a week. It will be on Sundays and Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, of course barring any real-life insanity. I'll be playing random games and chatting with y'all, maybe even playing with a few of you if you happen to be playing any of the games I am. One thing is I may have like votes on the Patreon for what games I play. It'll have to be from what I own for now, but eventually I may start including titles that I'm interested in getting, even if I don't currently have them. So that's something to look forward to. Anyway, that's all I've got for tonight. Thank y'all for listening. If you enjoyed this video, then please give a like and or subscribe, or both. I hope that y'all have a wonderful night. Bye.